Hello, everybody. Welcome to One Choice Magazine. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this conversation today. We get to welcome a new editor. Yee! There are so many incredible things going on with One Choice Magazine. It's just been a whirlwind. I'm so excited. Welcome, everybody who's joining in. So glad to have you guys today. We have a great conversation. Trishana Horton is just an incredible human being. She's so creative, so artistic. Even as I was preparing to have a conversation with her today, I was looking at some of the incredible things that she's done. She's been featured for vocals on songs, guys. Like this is no small thing. You are in for a treat today. We have her. She's already here. She's ready to go. So we're gonna jump right into our conversation with one another. I can Trishana Horton. Let's see. Confetti, confetti.
Hey.
Hey, Trishana.
Hey,
How are
Sierra.
you?
Good. How are you?
Good. You're just as cute as can be.
Thank you. So are you. I love
Oh
your
my
outfit.
goodness. Oh, thanks. I was just telling
Yeah.
everybody, like, as I was preparing to have this conversation with you, I was looking at some of the things that you've done, just posted to your story and on your Instagram page, and I was like, it's no small thing to have you as a part of our team. So I'm ecstatic. And I know
Thank
everybody on the
you.
team already loves you. We love working with you. This was your first month that you published some articles in the issue.
Yeah.
And it came out today. So again, guys, if
Oh,
you aren't subscribed to One Choice Magazine, you want to subscribe because the October issue dropped today. Of course, today's the perfect day to talk about fear, right? Because it's Halloween.
yeah.
Around
Right.
terrifying each other, but the joke is this is the one thing you can read today about fear that won't scare you. So
Yeah.
it's the perfect day to drop an issue, right?
Yeah.
So how are you doing today?
Good. I'm excitedly nervous, but good. Great.
Oh no, don't be nervous at all.
How are
Look,
you?
it'll be a completely casual conversation. One, because I don't even have the questions in front of me. I'm going to tell you. So you might have to guide me a little bit. I'm just running back from the store and I'm like, I didn't get a chance to pull up those questions yet.
Okay.
But I'm great. Today is a great day. I'm really excited that the issue came out. It was so incredible. You had two
Yeah.
pieces that maybe we'll get into a little bit later. You can give people a sneak peek about what you talked about in the October issue. And then they'll have to go
Okay.
back and read the
Sure.
rest when you talk about your section. But tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah.
Who is Trishana Horton? What is she up to? What does she love? What are some of her passions? Tell us about you.
Oh, hello everyone. I am Trishana. What do I love? I love to read. I love colors. I share a deep passion for music, not unlike other people, but I really do believe that music can be therapy. It can get us into things and out of things. And I also believe that everyone has a God-given talent, some sort of creative ability. What am I up to now during quarantine?
Well, yes, the long
The long
journey of
lockdown.
quarantine. Yes.
So I recently finished my master's in performing arts, and so I know, right? So in this
Yes.
period, I've been pursuing those passions, and that includes my Instagram, sort of turning it in and branding it to be about music and sharing music with others. Also, a YouTube channel is coming. Look out, people. I just joined One Choice
Oh,
Magazine,
okay.
which is so very exciting to be the editor of the arts and culture section. So that's one of my many new projects. I also shout out to Victoria Roach and Vicky Sweets because I work as a music curator for her podcast and playlist.
Yes. They're
Sweet
friends
Talk.
of One Choice, definitely.
Yeah,
Friends of
friends of
McKissick
One
Health.
Choice for
Shout out to
sure.
Vicky Sweet.
Yeah. So far that has been it in a nutshell. Just making use of this time. I
You
mean, we're
chilling.
indoors, might as well make it happen. So yeah.
Yes, this is definitely, and you can speak to this as a creative. This has given people time to like really reset and have for people who are like, I kind of want to start this
music career, or I want to start writing, but I'm really nervous about it, but I have all this time. I know I should do something. How can you encourage them?
My dad, he's always said this thing to me, and more it's become like so prevalent in my mind, but he always says small stages. And what he means by that is like, whatever following you have, whatever platform you have, make your gift known to those people. Another thing he says is give yourself away. And that's without, expecting something in return. Maybe you don't get the applause or the shout out that you want. It may not be to your level of admiration that you feel you should be getting. But the point is that you're sharing your talent, you're sharing your gift, and you're starting small. Something I learned in performing arts that I think is so crazy is they're always talking about the 10-year period for actors, that it's sort of like this 10-year period of doing all these low budget movies or movies you just come up, small stage plays, and then you get a big one. So it's just about putting in the work and taking time to actually pursue your craft and to pursue your dream. Maybe it happens for you tomorrow, maybe it doesn't. But the point is doing it to the level in which you're satisfied and that you know, hey, my actions are pleasing God. Is it pleasing to God? For you, those of you who are believers and you believe that there is a life force out there that unifies us all in love and light, I think that's what it's all about. And at least that's how I'm pursuing it. It's just kind of getting myself out there. You got to break the mold at some point. So yeah, just doing it at the stage, at the level that you are. Like, pursue your craft where you are. It's okay. We'll figure it out.
That's such good advice too, because sometimes we think like we need all these extra things, like we have to have what other people have in order to start. And that's not the case. You can learn how to do anything. You can teach yourself new skill sets to get stuff done. I think it's funny because One Choice Magazine is actually something that I would have never imagined myself being the director of. Not at all. Not at all. I didn't know how to design. I haven't always been a graphic designer. I definitely haven't always been a writer. I tell this story all the time. In high school, we were given a concentration at this arts school I went to, and they asked me, because I didn't get into voice keyboard. Trishana, I told you about this. I'm still sorry. I didn't get in. So they made us choose an alternative, and I chose language arts and global studies. So it's like world history and then also that writing piece. And I ignored the writing like times a million. I just ignored the writing. I didn't put my all into it. So coming back into this, you come with that little bit of intimidation, right? Like, how do you start a magazine and you wouldn't even write a 5-page paper? You know, how do you put to words all these thoughts and feelings that you haven't been doing that with? And it gives you an opportunity to kind of think on your feet and be creative, actually rely on the sensibilities and the power that you have within yourself. So doing that in small bites and then doing it freely is such a freeing concept for people to tap into, especially during this time. So now you got to tell us what you got coming down the pipeline. What are you interested in working on, or what are you working on?
Right now, YouTube channel. I mean, I really want to share music in that platform. I love watching YouTube too. Like, I've come to a place where if I need to know how to do something, I'm YouTubing it.
That's
so
true.
I really want to create a channel that explores music, but with the underline that qualify the music that you're listening to. There are different audiences for different types of music, but I think it's really important that we understand our power as listeners and how music influences culture and society, some of our thoughts and the way that we pursue one another and our dreams and our passions. So I think it's very important. And plus, you know, there are so many communities where music is like the through line, you know. So I think it's very important that we start to consider and maintain a certain integrity about what we're listening to. So that's what I want to center the YouTube channel around. I am teaching myself to play guitar again. For the second time.
Hey now.
again. So all of this
I
is
like
kind of
it.
surrounding the YouTube channel. Look, I'm like, here's the time. But all this is sort of like surrounding the YouTube channel and just getting myself out there as a creator, as a singer and a songwriter. I sing, I write songs. So I'm pursuing that diligently. That's what's down the pipeline so far.
I like
Yeah.
that you said we have a power in determining like what we listen to and how we process it. Talk more about that, because that's one of the things I really love about your work, mostly because of my personal development piece and psychology background. I'm like, tell them, girl, tell them how it works. So go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of billboards and reading music charts and seeing what's topping, what's not. And I think what's interesting is what we're validating in the lyrics that we're listening to. So there have been discussions about women empowerment, and that's important. And then there are different types of what we deem as powerful as women, but also who's deciding to be the forefront of that. And I think it's especially important for our community and how we've always been viewed as women. So let's have a challenge to change the narrative, because if you are walking outside and people are judging you based on the rapper that they listen to, that's a problem, because you may not identify with that image. You may haven't listened to not the one song that the person's ever put out, but it's so interesting that that confirms who you are to another group of people. And also what you feed yourself. So what you're taking in and saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to listen to this. What makes you feel powerful? What makes you feel bold to get out there and do something? It's important. What we're listening to, you don't ever hear about gospel or Christian music being a chart topping type of song or type of category or genre. It's also very interesting that when it comes to R&B and soul and rap and hip hop, there are certain things to be said from a person of color. I guess you could say the freedom of language that they feel in writing or speaking lyrics versus a person of a different nationality or a different race and what they're saying about love and relationships. So I think it's very important to really consider what artists are you saying is popular. So every time you listen to a song, every time you share that song with a person, that equals money for that artist. That's furthering their career so much farther. And I think you, like so many other people, have been listening to artists that aren't on the charts. You know what I mean? Like people that no one's ever heard of. That's so interesting too. Like how many that are of quality talent that we may never ever see on a Grammy show, on a Billboard chart. That's insane, which is one of the reasons
That
why I
is
really
definitely
value Spotify, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So,
You're doing awesome work with that. I love your Instagram page. Let me tell you. I just went back yesterday and I was listening to you sing the songs, and it sounds like, I love how music allows you to take the lyrics, to take the melody and just embody it, like make it your own. Because some of the songs you sing, I'm like, why didn't they call her? She sang it so much better. I was like, you have this soulful tone, and that's the thing that really draws me into music. So when you talk about like listening to some of these artists that aren't necessarily mainstream, I grew up like the only thing we had really was my Bow Wow CD and then the radio. So I knew all the Bow Wow songs.
Yes.
Yes, for my Bow Wow CD. I was a hard fan, man. And then like the radio, and as I got older, I'm like, oh, you don't like have to just listen to the radio. You can walk through the record store and like pull these different CDs that are just on the shelf. And even as I've gotten older than that, I realized I don't really like the radio, right? Because there is that sense of I can't control what's coming up, and they can change my mood from song to song. So it's like 1 minute you like listening to a Whitney Houston song, and it's Sunday, but it rocks like it. And then they just flip the script, and it's like something completely left field from that. And it was like, oh wait, can we go back though? So I completely agree with the idea of like, I don't know, making your own concept of what mainstream music is, right? Like finding songs that resonate and connect with you. and living through that experience. Because I talk about this in my book Faith Lessons, how I listened to Beyonce's Lemonade album and I felt like I had just been cheated on by my husband, and I was like, I'm gonna bust up your car. You know, I'm like, why am I taking on these emotions? I don't even know Jay-Z. Like, what is happening right now? Like, you're not married, Sierra. You've never been married, but you hear it and you're like, I connect with that. And then if you don't take it a step further and ask yourself, well, why am I connecting with it? Then you sit with all these unattended emotions, and they go somewhere throughout your day. You know, throughout your life, you'll call those things back up. And it's great that you have somebody who can just talk you through processing what you're listening to and why you're listening to it. I think one of the best things you talked about when we interviewed was you understanding like what the artist's intentions was or were when they created the song or wrote the lyrics. And that's such a good thing. Talk about that as a creator, because you write music too. Girl, I stalked you. Yes, I did. I was like, Trishana is just blowing my mind right now. You write music as well. So as a songwriter, what process goes into you writing your music or you writing for other people? What kind of steps do you take in your thought process or even your emotional process?
Yeah, so I've learned that when lyrics come to me, to write them down. I read a book about that sometimes songs will come to you, little bits and bursts of songs, and if you don't write them down, then they may go away. So that's been very important about sitting down when I think about lyrics or when something comes to me, that I go ahead and write it once I get it. Sometimes the emotional process, that's a little difficult because I always challenge myself. It's not easy, but there are songs about love and deep love. And I think also sometimes you experience longing for things or love, a relationship. So I always challenge myself, because I'm just going to say this. I think Janae Aiko writes about breakups and relationships to perfection. So lately I've been saying like, okay, I don't need to write another breakup song. So I've challenged myself to write about what is the pursuit of womanhood. You know, what is it like to be a single woman? What if you are tired or fed up about the narratives that you hear about relationships, especially in our community? I think it's really challenging how there's a certain level of expectation for a woman to undergo certain trials with her partner, you know, and that speaks to your level of loyalty. Well, that's difficult if you're expected not to cheat or not to lie, but then your male partner is. So I thought about that when writing songs. So really, I just try to pursue storytelling in a different way. I think of it as, what are the songs that I wish I could hear, but that I don't hear right now? And just being, you know, truthful to that, true and honest to my experience and what I would want. I always think about it too, just how important music was to me growing up. Like I always had, do we remember this portable CD players?
Girl, do I remember?
The $20 portable CD players.
Take it a step further. I had a portable cassette player home.
Oh, shoot.
And the little headphones that barely fit over your ear sockets.
Yes, exactly. Or that you're always like this to try to get sound. So, you know, I thought about like how important that was to me, my Aaliyah 1 in a Million album. And let me tell you, you guys go out there and try to find an Aaliyah 1 in a Million album and tell me how that works for you. Girl. But I just try to think of that, like, what do I want young girls to hear? You know, if my music ever surfaces and I ever attain like a large following, what do I want to be about as an artist? So that is what I write. Those are things I keep in mind when I'm writing. It's just integrity, authenticity, and storytelling, but in a different way, something that's unique to my experience. What do I not hear out there that I think needs to be said?
Oh, I love all of that. I don't even know where to start unpacking that. I saw yeses in the comments about what it means to be a woman, so defining womanhood. Yeah, people are tripping. I love this idea of storytelling. Obviously, that's like my thing. I do it in my sleep.
Yeah.
So I can completely agree with you when it's like, when you get a lyric, you have to write it down immediately. Because Trishana, I tell jokes in my sleep. This is why I missed my career as a comedian.
Yeah.
I need to be a comedian so bad. I tell jokes in my sleep, and I will literally roll over. I have a phone full of jokes, just like stand-up comedy jokes that I thought of as I was falling asleep. So you're more normal. So I get it. You're so
I get that too. That's so awesome. Like, oh my God.
But that idea of like, let me capture this moment in time and then put words to it that allow other people to connect with it. What's one of the most incredible stories you've ever heard? That's probably a big question, right? But what's a story that you think of that really resonates with you? And not in any particular category, but when you talked about being able to tell the story of women, and their experiences, even in the singleness period that a lot of women are still in, like as many women as you see in relationships or marriages, there are still this like large number of women. There's still this large number of women who are single and identify in that as something powerful, right? It's an empowering journey. I know some women who are like, I've never been single. And so they feel like they've missed out on this sort of rite of passage where you move into your first apartment by yourself, rather than moving in with somebody else, where you go to dates by yourself to get to know yourself. So I've seen like both sides as a therapist. I've seen both sides of the road here. And so it's beautiful to hear that that's something you're speaking to. So as you write these stories and you capture these moments, what's one story that stands out to you?
So far, that's a very challenging question.
I knew it.
And I think, I'm going to be confident in my answer. I watched this movie and it's called Captain Coralinis Mandolin. It's Nicolas Cage, Penelope Cruz. Okay. And so if I'm not wrong, it's like this Grecian island and they're experiencing World War II. And so what's very unique about her experience is that she's an anomaly in her community. Her father's a doctor and he's always challenging her to think outside. He's training her to be a doctor. And in that time, that's unheard of. She's expected to be a homemaker, a housewife. She has a love affair with someone in her community that she's loved from time. And it's expected of her to get married to this person. So once their island is infiltrated by, the warring enemy, she falls in love with a soldier. And so it's all about the challenge of belief. He accepts her intelligence. He accepts that she's different. He loves her father. He doesn't treat them as though they are victims of the casualty of war, but rather thank you for letting me, hold you hostage in your home. For lack of better words, I understand that you're experiencing war and I'm the victor right now. You're not. So I think that story, first of all, it always amazes me. We're going through a challenging time right now. We consider American politics and what's happening in the election. But our ancestors have endured wars and
somebody.
And there are so many countries now that are doing the same thing. So I haven't had that experience as a woman. And where I'm worried about, will I get married, or I'm single, I'm not dating, I don't have children, I've never been married. But that's something that I look forward to, that all happens to me. But what if it doesn't? What if I never experience that, but that I'm to love a different way, or that I'm to pursue family in a different way? So I've always find that movie so unique because that's not my experience. I've never been in a war-torn country. I don't even know how I would react.
Girl,
like, what is it like to have someone infiltrate your home and then fall in love with them? So I think that's a powerful story as a woman, to have that sort of challenge. And even though we're not experiencing there, like when you think about the women of Beirut and Belarus with what's happening in their presidential election, Belgium is experiencing a COVID pandemic. It's just really, thinking about the fragility of life and where I have, I haven't had that experience, an unfortunate experience of experiencing war. So I think that's a story, even though it's fictional and it's a movie.
Hey, and listen, any story that's fiction, I feel like always belonged to somebody, right? If you could tell it probably happened to somebody and their name is just unknown. So I get it.
Yeah.
That is a good one. Oh my gosh. So that brings us into your section, your arts and culture section within One Choice Magazine. And I think you released 2 incredible pieces. I love both of them. Tell us about what you hope to do with the arts and culture section in One Choice Magazine, what you hope to expose us to and give us a better understanding of. And then a sneak peek of the articles. Just a little peek, though.
Just a little peek. Okay. What I hope for this section is, again, just to explore it from what I was telling you earlier about small stages, and really the platform that you have right now, the following that you have right now. How are you pursuing your creative talents? There are so many people connected to now, and since graduating from grad school, that are out there starting businesses, be that in photography, or there are others who are pursuing film and music in a different way. I want to give those people a voice. We know Beyonce, but we don't necessarily think about the songwriters and the engineers and the music executives, the costume designers, the set designer. So I think that's so important to give those voices a platform and let their voices be heard, because that's also important. Who's working in the backgrounds? Who's behind the scenes? What was it like to build and to get there? I think that can be so very inspiring. Ruth Carter, oh my gosh. Yeah, she's the costume designer for Spike Lee. And I just think it's so interesting that she's been with him through all these movies. Yeah. And what I love so much is the costumes, are the outfits. And, you know, her platform has now come with Black Panther. So what was that like for her? Years of experience, years of already designing, already being those voices, let them be heard. Let's draw inspiration from the people who are behind the scenes, as well as those that we already know, that will come to know. I think that's important. Who's in service and what are they doing? So yeah.
I love it. I love the idea of this behind the scenes approach and this untold story aspect, because as much as we fall in love with the people on the screen, it's really the people behind the screen who make us fall in love with them, right? When you see even down, I didn't even realize this till like a couple of years ago when I went through my really like watching the same thing over and over and over and picking it apart, because I became more interested in telling stories. So I wanted to find the stories I really love to see like, why do I love this story so much? And as I looked at things, I'm like, it comes down to everything from hair color to the actual clothes that they wear on set, in the scenes, like the angles, the blocking, all of that is a part of it. And it's like, wow, somebody is seriously a genius to sit down and have the ability to conceptualize all of these very small details. And those little details make all the difference in you falling in love with something. Because we all know, we've seen maybe a lower budget piece of work, and we're like, dang, I would have held the camera so it was a little more steady than that. You know, you like volunteer. My cousin could have made y'all some costumes, you know, just to fill it out a bit more. But even the worst version of something you create still has value, because now you're able to see where you can start and how you can build on that. So don't even take, like, we throw shade at low budget films and we're like, oh, they need to take this line. Every piece of work is incredible, and it gives somebody a starting point. Now you have a frame of reference to work with. So I'm excited about this section because, you know, I'm a junkie. I'm a complete arts and culture junkie. Entertainment, all of it. I love it to pieces. Brianna saying the BET exclusive films.
I know. Right.
Those are some of the ones.
To Brianna Elmore. Our
editor-in-chief. Yes, she's in the room. I saw some other people join. Hey, y'all. This has been such a great conversation. I just love talking. I love talking. That's true. But I love talking to you too, Trishana. This has been enlightening. And as you were talking about the film with Nicolas Cage and Penelope, I think you sang a song on your Instagram page, and I listened to that song. So I was like,
so inspired.
I wonder if that's the one. I wonder
And
if
let me
that's
tell you,
the
it's like I
one.
finished the movie. It is. I finished the movie and I like automatically wrote that song. And I was just like, okay, that was an interesting experience. But it's one of the ones that I'm just most proud of. I don't know. I was just shocked by that story.
Okay,
And
yeah.
yeah.
I think it's incredible that you can connect with something and then go and do something about it, right? You have a way to channel that energy that you receive from just watching the film. Now you can go create a song. You can go write a song. That to me is just mind blowing. I'm like, I watch something and I'm like, oh, that was so beautiful.
I'm learning.
I really liked it. Like, I want to do something. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. We're definitely going to collaborate. Y'all get Trishana's information now, because once she's gone, you'll never get her again. She's going to be flying through.
No.
Well, we're so happy to have you at One Choice Magazine. Again, I told you I didn't have the questions in front of me, but I know one of the questions is, what's one choice that you've made that has really impacted your life?
That would be grad school. And I say it impacted my life because I polled people. When I finished undergrad, I knew I wanted to go back to school, but I took 4 years of polling people, of asking, hey, what do you think if I went back to graduate school? Hey, what do you think if I went back to graduate school? Hey, what do you know? And I got different answers, and they were all valid points. I will say that, as far as how much will it cost? You'll have to relocate. Will you dedicate your time? How will you be able to foot your bills while you're doing it? And that was really challenging, but I say that it was one of my most challenging experiences and how it affected my life because I went. Performing arts is not a promising field. You know, in all of my classes, and here's a sneak peek of the article in this month, is in all of my classes, they legit started with the professor saying, hey guys, you're going to go on 1,000 auditions, and of that 1,000 auditions, you're going to get one job. And this is not going to be the job that's going to propel you to fame. You won't be on the Oscar stage. It'll probably be some low budget film that may or may not pay you, but do it anyway. Be thankful for the opportunity. They encourage you, do not wait to fall in love. Do not wait to start a family, because you never know when it's going to happen that you may get the movie, and that really, again, propels your career. So making my decision was difficult because I knew, okay, it's not technical. It's technical in a way, but it's subjective. Acting is subjective. Who thinks you've done a great job? There are so many factors that come into winning an audition and getting on a certain project. So there was just no guarantee that, me pursuing this degree was going to level up my career in any way. But I'm so thankful that, and it was a real journey in deciding I relocated from Los Angeles to Savannah, Georgia. There, I had no family there. It was difficult getting there. I didn't have a car, no job planned out. I just kind of made up my mind, and then I started putting my feet into motion because I realized just how unhappy I was, and I wanted to pursue my passion. So in going, it was really challenging to get out of my comfort zone and to really start to feel powerful about who I am, my unique beauty, what I look like, who I am. They talk about that you can't be anyone else. You're not going to get a job based on, I can act like Viola Davis so very well. That's not what they're looking for. They really are looking for you to be unique. And so has been life affirming for me in that way, because I've challenged myself to stop seeking validation or affirmation from people, but versus God, or myself. Like, am I proud of the work that I'm doing? Would I listen to it? How do I feel about it? And mistakes will be made. Failure can be your very best teacher. But it was important for me to go to graduate school and to learn that lesson, and to also meet others who had the same insecurities as I did. It made me feel like I had a tribe. It made me feel like I wasn't alone. And hey, I love art so much. I love performance, vocal performance, and music. Like watch a concert, cry. Let me tell you, Beyonce's Super Bowl performance.
Yes,
her MTV performance.
it was
but anyway,
a beautiful moment.
Yeah. So just in short, it's a life affirming experience for me, but it took me again 4 years to get there. It took me so through that experience I learned don't do that. You know, if you have a few trusted confidants, friends, mentors that you can talk to and ask them, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing, what you're doing, that's important. But just to be out asking anybody you come into contact with, hey, should I do this? No. Pray about it. Also, in seeking mentors, I just want to say this real quick. My mentors are authors of books. Priscilla Shire, Sarah Jakes Roberts, people I've never met in person. But I also just want to encourage, you know, folks out there listening that you can also find mentorships from books, people you watch on Instagram. That's important too if they're not in your immediate circle. So yeah, Sierra, just grad school. And all of my fears, I would just want to say that, like, where it manifests, I did have to challenge myself. How am I paying for this? You know, loans will come. Yeah. But I'm glad I did it. It's not something I regret.
Yes, so, Lord. Yeah. Loans will come right on time. Look. Every month, right on time. I think what you said, I just want to say yes and amen to, because everybody who I've ever had to counsel or just reflect on the grad school experience to that was a person of color has said the very same thing. And I find that so interesting that no matter what field you go into, you still have this very similar experience within graduate school that says, I have to define who I am. And I have to define who I am through this experience and allow it to poke at me, to allow it to remold me into whoever it is I'm meant to be. And it's extremely uncomfortable. So, but once you exit that experience, girl, I wouldn't take it back for anything. I take the loan money back. Absolutely. 100%. Give that back. I don't want it.
Yes.
Something else.
All of it. I don't want the bill. Thank you.
Yeah. I changed that. But the experience itself, how it refines you, is dead on. And so I thank God that you survived and you came out, and now you get to bless us. You get to bless us with all of your beauty and all of your greatness. I'll say this, Viola Davis, I love you, but we could get a Viola Davis any day. We can't get another Trishana Horton. She just has some roles, honey. There's a purity. There's some level of authenticity and anointing within what you do that when Victoria, who we mentioned earlier, said, well, Trishana probably would be interested in writing, I'd be like, no. I was like, no way. You really think so? You think she might? You think she might? Because you always had this spirit that was so giving and so freely open to sharing that I knew it would be the perfect introduction into the magazine. So thank you on behalf of One Choice Magazine for joining us. We're so happy to have you right now, right in the arts and culture section. Now give them that sneak peek, because I think I started talking too soon. What's that? Okay. I don't know which one you gonna pick, so I'm gonna shut up.
I already told you all a little snippet of one of the articles. I think it's Combating Fear. Ooh, I don't want to mess up the title. And then there's another one, and it's just a sneak peek about what's going on in small stages right now. I think it's Virginia. But there's actually history is being made on a Shakespearean stage. So make sure that you all tune in. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and we even included a snippet of an interview. Absolutely, cover to cover. Okay, guys, read it all. But we included a video. There's a video. Yeah, I knew Brianna was gonna pick up on that Beyonce reference. I knew it, because she is a Beyonce fan. She's saying. And if you like Celine Dion, we already said we're going to a show when COVID is over. You know, she's my godmother. I don't need to say this again on camera, but just in case she's listening, as Trishana talked about mentors who you don't necessarily know face to face, Celine Dion is my godmother. So
yes, I love that.
Hi, godmom. She's my godmother in my mind.
I love that so much. Alice Smith might be mine, if that's the case.
Oh, see, See?
Girl,
I
I
feel
love
like
everything
Celine
about
is
that
just
lady.
so extra. She's so extra. I just
But
love
in such a good way. I mean, that's so
She's just so
true.
extra.
Like the
Yeah.
power she's found after her husband is down. I'm like, Celine, you leveled all the way
Yes.
up.
Yes. And
Like, yeah,
there's a
totally
specific type
agree.
of person who can perform in Las Vegas every night and just not crack. I don't know what she eats for breakfast, but I need that. So that's mostly why
Mm-hmm.
I just want to live her routine so I can live like that.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, I won't keep you any longer, Trishana. We are so excited. I said I'm going to get like a confetti popper so I can start popping confetti to introduce and close out everybody when we do the lives. I know. Wouldn't it be cool? I'm just too corny for myself. But we're so happy to have you. Thank you, everybody who's joined us today.
Thank you.
Definitely subscribe to the magazine, onechoicemag.com. Go follow Trishana Horton. Trishana, go ahead and type your username into the comments so people can see. And go follow her and all of the incredible things she's doing. Tell them about your YouTube page one more time and how they can follow. I'm sure on her
I am
followed on my computer, so I can't remember what the address is. But there's her Instagram, so go follow her and stay connected. Stay connected because she's doing some incredible work, and we look forward to telling more stories with her.
Thank you so much, Sierra. This has been such an awesome experience. To everyone that's joined, thank you. You can find me at Note to Note. And basically, YouTube is coming. Stay tuned. And again, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Sierra, you're amazing. I appreciate it.
Girl, stop. Right back at you. Right back at you. We love having you. We'll talk to you again because you like being on camera. So you might come back and give us a little tune up on music and culture. Okay, we're gonna pencil that in, guys. See how I work it, y'all? You acting on camera, they can't deny you. Love it. Okay, Trishana, you have a great day, and we'll catch up again.
Okay, bye.
All right,
bye, everybody.
Bye.